Chinese New Year brings something a little different to this Kung Fu club hidden in Liverpool city centre. I spoke to Kung Fu specialist James Lau about what the day was all about.
My name's James Lau, and today we're doing a lion dance performance and probably some Kung Fu afterwards, a Kung Fu demo. It's basically like an old school Kung Fu club, and as well as practicing like martial arts or weapons, in addition to that there's the showmanship side of it, where there's lion dancing and dragon dancing involved.
I also caught up with Kung Fu fighter Matthew Wall, who told me all about the purpose of the Chinese lion dance.
We're here today at the Ying restaurant. We're here to perform the traditional Chinese lion dance, and the purpose of that is to bring good fortune and prosperity for the restaurant for the year ahead.
We train throughout the year for such a performance. For the Kung Fu demos, that's just us doing a particular set. If you're familiar with karate, they have katas. We just call them forms. And you'll see us performing hand sets and weapon sets as well.
Matthew then gave me an insight into the history behind the sport.
Our school has always performed this dance, yeah. It's part of what we do. We're a Kung Fu school, but we also perform the lion dance. So it's hundreds of years old. There are a few stories behind the lion dance, okay? So one of the stories goes back to several hundred years ago in China, in rural areas, as a way of you'd have in the fields wild animals that eat the crops, and this is the effect, the rural populations. So the story goes that the villagers would go out into the fields, maybe starting off they'd be banging pots and pans, they'd create a mask and an early version of the lion, and they'd go out and scare away these wild animals, so then they get a good harvest, the crops will be able to grow. That's one story. And then eventually that developed into, the instruments like drums, cymbals, gongs, and then, they developed the design of the lion, the mask that we use, and the idea behind that was to, scare away these wild animals, so the crops wouldn't get eaten and the villagers wouldn't starve. So that's one of the stories behind it, but there's quite a lot of stories.
Oliver Stockdale for Merseysport Live.